The squirrels have been coming out here and I see them standing on this little armrest and just eating their acorns and fattening up for winter. They're leaving their remnants here. At least clean up your crumbs! Greetings, loved ones, and welcome back to another vlog. I want to say at the beginning of this video, I have talked about this literally everywhere except in a vlog. I posted it all on short form YouTube shorts as well, so some of you might have already seen. Larry's seen. Papa's got a brand new bag, okay? Mama got a haircut. Oh, he's so handsome. I don't know how many inches I ended up cutting off, but I feel like I cut off another foot or something like that, just like I did at the beginning of the year. And I was joking about this on Instagram, but literally, unless somebody in my real life saw my Instagram story about cutting my hair, nobody even noticed. Like, not a single person that I haven't seen in a couple of months has been like, and did you get a haircut, you know? And that's when you know your hair is just so long that people don't really like understand what length is gone or what's there, or like it just looked so dead at the end. They're like, I don't know, you could have had it, you could have not had it, I wouldn't have seen it either way. Larry just turned 10 this past week, and I'm so happy that we got to spend the day together. I actually filmed a secret vlog of our day for my Patreon, so I'll link that over here. If you're ever looking for extra content from me, my Patreon is always linked in the description box. But yes, he's a seasoned old man now, and he's out here in his grandpa sweater, which I actually have to get my mom to fix the hole of. If any of you knit, will you let me know like how she could even patch this? My mom is a new knitter, okay? She started to knit probably like 2 or 3 months ago, but she's already made Corvidia a dress, a hat. She's making Christmas stockings, because I haven't even talked about this. I'm just like going all over the place. I don't care. I missed you. I have a lot to talk about. But I am doing Vlogmas this year, and also we are spending Christmas in Georgia for the first time ever with Finley. He'll be coming to my house for Christmas, but I started going and celebrating Christmas at his house in Virginia in, I think, 2019. I'm pretty sure in 2019 I spent actual Christmas Eve at my house in Georgia, and then the next morning I'm pretty sure I flew to Virginia for Christmas Day. So I haven't celebrated a Christmas Day in Georgia in freaking years, and I'm so excited. So Lindsay and Jared are both coming, and that's really what like got the ball rolling on this plan, because they wanted to celebrate Christmas in Georgia, so they let us know that like months and months ago so we could plan. And we were like, okay, maybe we'll like try to overlap and still celebrate Christmas in Virginia and then go and meet you guys. And then Colin heard us talking about this whole plan on our family vacation in September, and he was like, wait, you guys are going home for Christmas this year? Then I'll go. My brother lives in Wyoming, but he hasn't been back since I think 2015. So we're gonna have like a 10-year Hughes reunion in Georgia, and we're all just so excited. And I know my mom's so excited too, and she's like getting to knitting these stockings for Jared and Corvidia and for Finley, and she's just getting all prepped. So yes, that's what I wanted to say about the hole. Let me know if you knit, if she could like darn the hole and what kind of yarn or method she could use. I feel like it's easier to start a new knitting project than it is to like fix somebody else's work, because you have to go with their pattern. I don't know, I'll probably just have to like send her the sweater and hope for the best. But I'm in my little narration chair today, and I have to say, y'all, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to do these narrations outside for you, and I know that you guys really like them, so we're gonna have to find a new cozy spot, probably just like my rocking chair or something in our bedroom to do these little narrations. But yes, cat's out of the bag. I got a haircut, wanted to start off this video talking about that, and now I want to talk about the main renovations that we're doing in the house, which is still preparing for the hardwood floors. And I would call this current renovation a delay-ovation, just because the flooring has so much to it that affects the whole house. And my friend Ariel Bissett, who I talk about all the time on here because she's also renovating her home, she put up a video recently where she used an iceberg as a metaphor for those things in your house where you almost don't even want to look at it, right? You don't even want to acknowledge this iceberg because you know everything that is underneath the iceberg, just like layers and layers of tasks. So that's sort of what the whole whole wing renovation has been, which is why I'm actually preferring to share it in real time with you, you know, vlog after vlog, compared to saving all of this footage and then just putting it up at a later date, like I'm going to do eventually with the bathroom renovation for our guest bathroom downstairs. So it's been literally finished since May and the video is still not up for you. I said it would be up by fall, so I guess I'm still within that timeline, but girl, I gotta get to work. Anyway, I'm trying to like edit that while also trying to get up these videos for you, but I digress. So right now, the main renovation that you'll see in this video is the subfloor. There's subfloor underneath all flooring, right? And we are removing the old carpet, like you saw us rip up the blue carpet in the last vlog. And then in this video, Finley ripped up the tan carpet in our living room and then started working on re-screwing down the original subfloor. And then because that was so like dirty and gross and cracked in some places and squeaky and stuff like that, he just felt better to, instead of reusing that subfloor and screwing, you know, the hardwood onto that, he wanted to add another layer of subfloor on top of that. So we would just have like a nice, clean, fresh layer to work with. And so that's the main thing that he's going to be working on in this video.
Okay, well, our camera's janky, but I just ripped these all up. Unfortunately, my shot of the carpet is all gone, forever disappeared into the abyss, but at least I can pull up this nice foam underlayment and that'll show a little difference. So I was saying in the deleted clip, I don't know why it's so dirty here. It is like a thick layer of dirt and it just goes all around the middle of the room. Just seems kind of odd. Putting a second layer of a subfloor down, so 3/4 inch OSB. So that'll cover up a lot of these imperfections.
I was just telling Finley how crazy it is to see this space so emptied out and just ready for the potential ahead. And he was like, yeah, it's actually even more empty than when we moved in. Also, I don't think I showed you guys this when I showed in my last video how it got painted, but we also did the sage green on this shiplap wall, and we also painted the shiplap ceiling white, and we're just loving it. And we're gonna use this same stain to put on that beam over there. But oh, wow. I also was thinking, well, there's no light in here right now, but even just having all the furniture out of this space, you can see the color yellow so much better. And it's a pretty gloomy day today, so the lighting is still terrible. And there's no overhead lighting in yet, but you get the idea, honey. Rue's running around. It's all cleared out in here, just some random duct taped seams, I guess. Who does this to their baseboard? Who knows? Anyway, we're getting ready to get the new lumber and lay it down pretty soon, but we gotta put some OSB down first on top of this old stuff. We just want a clean slate.
I got some OSB, which, you know, I was thinking, like, I'm not a terribly bougie person, but I usually never buy OSB. I just don't like it. I think it's stupid and ugly. Plywood just has a real kind of sex appeal about it that makes me ready to spend some money. However, I could not justify that for a subfloor that I will never see again, hopefully. Especially since there's already plywood underneath. So really, I just went with the cheapest stuff here, which should be perfectly good enough. That's what this stuff's designed for. And my nails, I'll probably use like 2-inch nails or something like that. So that'll go through the flooring, through this OSB, and then into the plywood underneath as well. So that should be pretty secure. I'm really taking this one step at a time. I have some idea of how I'm gonna lay my floor, but first I'm trying to get a good underlayment for it, which is what this OSB is for. But before I put this OSB down, what I'm gonna do is go back. All this is nailed in. So I'm gonna go in, screw this all down, and then I'll go back around, hammer in any nails that are poking out, because that'll probably suck some of the plywood down a bit. Once I do that, I'm gonna go shim some of these areas, because, I mean, I don't know if you can tell right here, but the floor like craters down in that corner. So I'm gonna shim that up a little bit before I put the next layer of OSB down. And then another cool thing I learned, see these cracks here? Where they're butted up, you know, that's a joist under there. What I'm gonna do is offset the next layer of sheathing so that it's not screwed in on the joists. So I'll screw it in like in between the joists. I guess that decouples it from the first layer being coupled to the joists. And so when the joists move, there's a little more forgiveness for the top layer to not move and squeak. So that should eliminate some squeaking, I'm hoping. And then I'm also gonna offset the other edges, you know, the edges going this way, I'll put the plywood a few inches at least off of that by screwing down the original layer, offsetting from the joists, offsetting from both seams of the original layer, and then screwing down the top layer. That should get me a really solid subfloor that won't squeak much. That's the plan. Boy, ain't it beautiful. A nice stack of wood. I was really running low, so now I've got a bunch of beautiful wood here to do whatever I want with. Reclaim from the house. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. They put this, I thought it was paint, but it actually feels more like a wax, like almost like crayon. And that's at all the ends of these boards. Obviously it's to keep moisture levels and keeping water out, I'm sure, to a certain degree, because OSB is really sensitive to that. But it also presumably would help eliminate squeak because, you know, there's no tongue and groove on these short edges, and so those are butted up to each other. And I would imagine that that wax is kind of like a lubricant when it would otherwise make a little squeak. Well, this is the kind of shit that just takes longer than I would expect. But I'll film a quick clip of it. Hey, it's better than drywalling them, alright? So, you know, that's how long it took me to do just this little half sheet of plywood. So I'll be here for a while, folks. Probably don't need to see any more of that. So what did I learn? First thing, I'm gonna need another box of screws. I don't know if I'm putting in too many or what, but 1 1/4 does seem good enough. It is, almost all of them are sucking down. And I just double up if they don't. My back hurts so bad from doing all this floor work, and I always think of ceiling work is what sucks, and wall work is like the best. But floor work honestly sucks. So I'll just leave it there for now, and then I'll jump back in when I've made some progress, and we'll see what that looks like. So everything's moving along nicely with this. You know, once you get in the groove of it, it's pretty quick, at least for these full boards, which I'm just gonna do, I think probably all the full boards first, and then I'll do all the cut pieces after that. I wanted to film a clip of this here. This is one of the tricky things I've had with the wiring. There used to be a wall here, and these wires came up into that wall, but I tore the wall out, and now I'm still using these wires as part of the circuit, but obviously it's not ideal right here. So I could cut my OSB to go around this and then cover it with the flooring, but I think what ultimately will be safer and just a better idea is if I cut out this plywood. Yeah, it's too late to pull all these wires out of the wall, but if I can just cut out a strip right here, then I can take that plywood out, put these, you know, beneath the plywood grade, and then I can just put a full piece of OSB over all of this, and then I'll mark it with tape so I don't forget that this is here. And then when I'm nailing my floorboards in, I'll just be very conscious of that. For that, I can use nails that are only as thick as the OSB to make sure I'm not shooting down into these wires. I think that'll be the best solution for this, so. All right, oh God. Some of you may have anticipated it. I cut one of these wires. It just seemed like an opportunity to make this all safer. Okay, so here's what I've done. I pulled in new wires, drilled a hole there, which, you know, this would theoretically be going through this base plate here, but this is the next best thing. I just have to like tape and make sure that I don't put any nails through there when I'm nailing up the trim. So the wires come in through here. I drilled hole, well, that hole was already there. I put this little old work box in and then drilled holes through these two joists for that wire. And then I'll show you from below, but basically that'll give me an access point to safely make all these connections in. And the only really unsafe thing here is having the wires like that. It shouldn't be visible once the trim's up, but I think what I'm gonna try to do though, they have these metal nail plates. That is a little sketchy, so I'll see what I can do about that.
First clip on the new camera alert. I had to break it in. Finley broke my last camera. He knocked over the tripod. It fell on its lens when he was doing some construction stuff. That has happened many a time before. It was really just a matter of time, is what both of us said. But in the past, the lens has been fine. But this time it was damaged beyond repair. So hello, Sony ZV-1 Mark II. It's basically just a newer version of my old camera. Enjoy.
Hello, welcome to our new camera. I happened to break the last one. It was bound to happen at some point, so we shelved out for a new one for the old wife. So hopefully it's good. You can see my beautiful work. You can see a door probably, because I took that down. Woodpeckers, bro. Can't live with them, can't live without them. I guess I'll just show this one I've cleaned up. I've still got to do 2 tiny pieces. Oh, this was really cool. I'd accidentally cut these so that they were 3/4 inches too high, and I had a bunch of shims under them. It literally was the perfect height to slide this underneath them. Small miracles, you know, you gotta take them when you get them. That was really cool. That was the coolest part of this whole project. So the vent used to be right there. Obviously that doesn't work with the door there. So I moved it over here. Well, I don't have one in yet, but you can see where it's going. I could just tack this on to my rant about how stupid OSB is and how I love to spring a little extra moolah on the plywood. OSB, Splinter City. It should stand for Office of Splinter Bureau. I've gotten so many damn splinters from working with this stuff. And I get it, you can wear gloves, but I'm not. It's not easy being obstinate, but I manage it every single day. So the flooring comes in today. That's very exciting. So within the next short while, I'm trying to have all this crap cleaned up, have this door back up or something, fill in these slots. I was gonna maybe film doing the last piece. I got this new saw because I was planning to do a bunch of other stuff with it, but it's actually really come in handy for doing the subfloor stuff. I just set the depth gauge. I try to be just under 3/4 inch. Technically, these are only 0.7 or like 0.705 or something like that, so it's a little less than 3/4 inch. And these are great because you can just run them one-handed. Just lift it up. I'm just trying to make sure there's decent gaps on every side here. I've literally gone through a box and like almost 2 boxes of these screws. And I make sure that they bite, and if they don't or if they spin out, I'll pull them out and put them somewhere else. So just to explain what I messed up, it's okay to have the straight line going this way, but these should have been stuttered or offset so that there's not all these horizontal lines. I didn't do that, so not ideal, but it's a second layer and the first ones are done correctly like that, so hopefully it's not too big a deal.
I have my hot tea out here to keep me warm. My hot tea and my Larry. But once he got the second subfloor all screwed down and ready to go, then we got the delivery from the local hardwood floor place. So we got 1,100 square feet of white oak from Vermont Plank Flooring, and they delivered it on like a random weekday. And thank God our friend Jess, she actually like is another content creator. I've talked about her, I feel like a couple of vlogs ago, but her username is Jess Among the Wild, and she's amazing. So we reached out to her and we're like, hello fellow freelancer, would you happen to have this afternoon free to come over and unload all of these planks of wood with us? Because with our baby's nap schedule, we weren't even sure if I would be able to help, like if she would be asleep or not, because oftentimes like if Finley's working on the renovation, I'm with the babe, you know, because she's not gonna pick up a hammer or use general unsafe things. So he was reaching out to Jess as if like she would be the one helping hand, but then Corvidia fell asleep for the entire delivery. So we actually had 3 hands, which made it a lot faster. But yes, truly shout out to Jess for making that work. Definitely go check her out on Instagram and TikTok. I feel like TikTok is actually her biggest platform if you guys are on there, but either way, just look her up on all of the places. And I'm so grateful that that happened, because now we have the wood that's been delivered. It's been acclimating to our space for a little bit of time, and that's what you're supposed to do. Apparently you're supposed to give wood like 2 weeks after you get it delivered to expand and contract with the humidity in your home before you like lay it down and screw it in or nail it in. I don't know what the old man's gonna do. I'm gonna watch the footage back and then I'm gonna be like, oh, that's how you install that. That's how I learn most things about renovations. You know, when you have a scent and it makes you really nostalgic, like I just smelled these boards and it reminded me of when I was younger. My parents were redoing the floors in our house, and I like came home from school and smelled them, but then I also was playing Webkins. So then I smelled them and was like, oh, Webkins. I'm even happier with this color than I expected, because online they looked almost gray.
Oh, really?
You know, like the farmhouse gray floors?
Yeah. Is this, I'm assuming, a local?
Yeah, it's Vermont Plank Flooring. It's on Putney Road.
Oh, cool, okay.
Yeah. Do you think you're finally gonna get a floor sander? Rent one from Home Depot?
Maybe.
Instead of the belt sander that took 25 years last time?
No, I don't need to sand this too much.
Oh, okay. Looking at this color now, I'm like, no way, Jose, would I do walnut stain. We are so pleased with the white oak flooring. It is bringing a whole lot of light to the wing, and I didn't realize how dark that space was with like the nasty old blue carpet in there. It was just like weighing the space down, giving it such bad vibes. And so once that was ripped out and the new layer of subfloor was put down, I was already seeing the light brought back to the space, but now I'm feeling even more of that with the new wood. So we're currently deciding what exact stain we want to stain it, or if we just want to give it like a nice sand and leave it mainly as the white oak raw wood that it came as, and just sealing it with something like a matte finish of Polyway. We use Vermont Natural Coatings Polyway, which is like polyurethane and whey. It's like a byproduct of making cheese. But anyway, that's what we're like brewing on right now. And I also wanted to talk about something else that we're brewing on that I will overlay a clip of onto the screen, which is our fireplace. Well, really just like the brick around and above the pellet stove. So while the flooring has been like acclimating to our space for the past 2 weeks or so, we've been doing a couple of other things that fall underneath that giant iceberg of the wing renovations, right? Where it's like, oh, replacing the flooring is this iceberg, but underneath it is also like, well, if we're replacing all the flooring, are we also going to acknowledge that all of the brick around the pellet stove should probably be repaired? Like we'll need to put more, is it mortar? I don't know. Brick and mortar, that's what I think it is. And then Finley raised the question to me of, do we want to paint the brick? And I know that this is such a funny and like very universally hated thing that homeowners do when they're like flipping a house, right? Like they paint the old brick fireplace and then, you know, the future homeowners are like, why the did you do that? So I think we'll probably lean towards no, painting the brick on the fireplace, but honestly comment down below what you think we should do, because we have been getting serviced all of our furnaces and heat sources. Our pellet stove, actually the guy just left, and we had the chimney sweeps come out recently because it's, you know, early November when I'm filming this, and we are going to get very quickly into winter. I already feel it. Like the nights have been in the 20s. So we will need all of those heat sources available. We've already been burning our oil furnace that Finley rebuilt the chimney exhaust for last year when he was up on that scissor lift. And the only reason we did that is because no other contractor was available. But when the chimney sweeps came out to sweep that chimney that he rebuilt, he was like, oh my God, you did this work yourself? It looks incredible. I love this little fix that you did here, so it would be easier for us to like clean the cap. Like, what an innovative approach. So happy with this work. Like, you did a great job. And once I hear that, I'm like, oh, thank God, you know? And honestly, I just have to take a second to brag on Finley really quickly and hype up my mans, because that's not the first time that that's happened. When we had the painters come out, they were like, who did this drywalling? Was it a professional? And Finley was like, it was me. And then today, when we had the pellet stove guy, like the repairman, come out, because we actually hired him to rebuild that chimney. I think it was supposed to be 6 inches higher from the roof clearance than it was when we moved in. So anyway, he did that, and he was here like weeks ago when we hadn't finished the second layer of subfloor yet. And then when he came today, he was like, wow, who did this subfloor? It looks amazing. What company did you hire? And Finley goes, it was me. And it just like makes me so happy. And I told the repairman that. I was like, wow, I'm so glad you said that. And he was like, no, seriously, like I'm not just, you know, blowing smoke up his ass. It looks professional. And comments like that not only make me so proud to be with somebody who can do all of these renovations, but it also just brings me like a big sense of peace. Hello, little mushroom sweater girl. But yes, this is all just to say that we've been focusing a lot on winterizing, thinking about the chimney and fireplace areas and just getting those all safe for the winter, and also working on little things that you don't immediately think about under the iceberg, like the door to the wing. Because if Finley was going to add on that 3/4 inch layer of plywood as a second layer of subfloor, then he would also add on top of that another like 1/4 inch of the white oak hardwood flooring, and then that's an entire inch above what the original flooring was, right? And when you have a door, then it's like, oh, it originally opened and closed perfectly, but now that the floor is an inch higher, it's just gonna hit the new floor. So unfortunately, he actually dropped and broke my last camera in the days where we would have showed you the before shot. And I don't know why I didn't think to like take a photo of it, but it slipped my mind. So just trust that the wing door was already so beyond. It was like completely scratched up by the previous owner's dogs. He had 17 black labs over the course of like 20 plus years living here. And a lot of those dogs were very rowdy, it seemed, because there's just like a lot of scratch damage on some of the original hardwood floors and around all of the trim and door jambs and everything. So when we already had to take the door off of the hinges to cut it so that it would open and close into the wing again with the new floor, then we were like, okay, now let's fix the jam, probably paint it, stain it. So we ended up painting the door the nice like light sage green color that we painted most of the wing, and then we painted the jam white. But you'll see all of this in Finley's clips of the door repair.
I ended up taking this door off because it was hanging poorly, and these screws and these hinges weren't really biting into much, so I ended up coating them in like Gorilla Glue first, which is great if you want them to stay, but not great if you want them to get out. So I have no idea how I'm ever going to get those out, probably, you know, by cutting them off in here. But my hope is that I never will take them out. I'm going to paint these jambs, and I was able to remove the top and side. So I'm going to replace those because there's a lot of damage from dogs scratching at it. And this one has some damage that hopefully I'll be able to hide somehow. Like I said, we're gonna paint them. It's a little too messed up to stain well. Here's the door, so I restained the door, and then you'll see when it's up that I painted the other side of it. Should be fantastic when done. So just to show you all, this is the damage. Obviously it's very severe. Can't paint over that. What I'm gonna try to do, and I'll film this here, is use this stuff. This is like a stained one, but I'm gonna paint it anyways, and just see if I can spatula that and get a good flat face here, fill in some of these other gaps, and hopefully the paint will just cover and hide it. All right, here's what I got for the final results. It's really not perfect, but I'll be here all day if I try to get a perfect edge there. Also, the more pointed that is, the more fragile it'll be, and it's already gonna be fragile. So hopefully the paint will help lock that in. I filled in a bunch of other tiny little holes and stuff like that. So now I'll put the primer on.
Action. Stop. Action.
So I gotta get this door in here. I wouldn't go so far as to say that this is the easiest way to hang a door, but such is the way whenever you attempt something that you think will not take much time. It'd be pretty easy. So the last step is putting these little strips in to keep the door from swinging too far inside. So I'm gonna nail this one down. Cut them perfectly as usual. Okay, so I'm doing my last touches here. Just gonna paint over. This is like grease I got on here. This is a wood filler where I filled the nail holes. I had to put this custom piece in, and I'll paint that white. It goes from just over a 1/4 inch down to nothing over the height of the door. As your homes warp over time, the jambs will end up like out of plumb and stuff like that, which then when you're trying to meet the trim to the jamb, there'll be these gaps that you have to fill, and it's pretty tricky. Like I free cut that on the table saw. Luckily it was longer, so I was able to stay well back from the blade, but definitely tricky. Gonna get this painted up, then I'll slap the trim on it. Should be good to go. So here we go. You know, at a glance, I would say it looks pretty good. Definitely better than having nothing. If I was to do this again, I think what I would do is just do my 45-degree miters for this top piece, and then put this in with an even reveal at the top, and then cut my vertical pieces based off of that. I did the vertical pieces first and then the top at the end, but it's just really easy as you're adjusting things, trying to get them looking nice where the miters meet at the bottom, to then, you know, end up with this 1/8 of an inch taller than on the other side. Here's a close-up of that little piece I had to cut. You know, you can see it right there, and that makes that look a lot nicer. This could use something for sure. I mean, I guess you'd maybe caulk that gap or something like that. I don't care enough to do anything about it. This is a pretty hidden angle right here. Yeah, looks pretty good.
And then other than home renovations, I also have just been a busy little bee, buzzing around. I started going to evening exercise classes recently, and I've just been loving all of them so much. I've been getting this body, you know, the body is tea. What do the kids say nowadays? Anyway, you know, I've been doing that, and it's been making me feel good, and I'm just happy to be getting back after that because I took a long break off of working out, which is fine. You know, it generally waxes and wanes and comes and goes for me, this whole motivation thing. But I'm back, nose to the grindstone right now. I'm about to go into an exercise class, and I just have to say, when the sun starts setting this early in the evening, there's not many things to look forward to after the sun sets. You know, I think we can all agree on that. But something that I do look forward to is driving to my little exercise classes at night and listening to Ride, the pod, okay? It's my favorite podcast. I know I've talked about it before, but it's just so fucking funny, and it was one of the best suggestions that my sister has ever given me. She's given me a lot, okay? And this is up there. Okay, I'll talk to you when I'm out. Now that I'm out of class, you already know that it's time to hydrate. Element, the sponsor of today's video, created salt stick packets that contain 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium with absolutely no added sugar. I'm back to working out 3 times a week now, and I've been really enjoying taking evening fitness classes because I can do all my things during the day, go exercise, and still make it home in time to give my daughter a goodnight kiss. I literally bring the lemonade flavor in my purse so I can put a salt stick in my water bottle after class to enjoy on my drive home. And it's just been so helpful for my body's recovery throughout the night. Sodium and magnesium are so important for muscle function, and inadequate potassium in your diet can actually hamper your muscle gains. So I'm always grateful the Element salt sticks cover all the bases. With winter also coming in hot, or should I say cold, I've been trying to keep in mind that hydration in winter is just as important as it is in the summer. Shoveling snow off of our front porch is a workout in itself, but combine that with outdoor temperatures, sweating in winter clothes, and living at a higher altitude, and you've got a recipe that calls for some extra electrolytes. I'm so glad that we're stocked up on a bunch of Element flavors for the coming months. Their 8-count sample pack has 2 of each of their most popular flavors: citrus, raspberry, watermelon, and orange salt. Lemonade salt is my all-time favorite though, and even though it used to be a limited flavor, it's now available all year long. So if you want to try Element electrolytes out for yourself, you can get a free sample pack of Element's most popular drink mix flavors at drinklmnt.com/Meghan Hughes. Find your own favorite flavor or share them with a friend. If you give it a try and don't like it, it's risk-free. Element will give you your money back, no questions asked, if you're not digging it. That's drinklmnt.com/Meghan Hughes, or click the link below to get a free sample pack with any purchase. Thanks, Element. Always a treat. And I've also been dipping my toe in the community boards around me, and I joined the board of my local library. I love them, and I'm honored that they asked me, and so that's been really fun. And we got to put on Halloween for the community and decorate the library and do all that kind of fun stuff, so that's been totally wicked. And that's been keeping me occupied because I'm taking a little break from Zumbini for the fall and winter because I was teaching outside, and I think I still want to do that unless, I don't know, maybe I could do an indoor space. But anyway, I'm doing this in the meantime. And then also I have a friend in my community who is part of the Historical Society, and I've been chatting him up about possibly joining for a couple weeks now, and he was like, why don't you just come out to a meeting and see if this is something that you would even want to partake in, you know, and like see how one of the meetings goes. So I actually did that this morning, and I am kind of up in the air. I'm like, do I want to join another board if I'm already like doing the library thing? And Zumbini will probably start up again in the new year. And then I also coordinate the community closet, and we've been working a ton in the background on becoming a nonprofit. There's just so many little things, you know, but it's been filling my cup. And I've been trying to think of the words that will like encompass this feeling of community that I have, because I want everybody to feel this way, like they're making an impact no matter how big or small in their own community. So I guess that's just kind of the words I'm looking for. Like, if you really want to make a change and you're frustrated at the world, look to the world around you directly, because there are probably people, especially older people, who are like ready to pass the baton to somebody who's younger than them, who will come in with fresh eyes and new ideas and this new, like, you know, vitality that hasn't necessarily gone by the wayside for them, but you know, they're tired and they're ready to like have new life breathed into the things that they love. So yeah, I'm thinking about the Historical Society thing, probably gonna brew on that. I'll let you know if I join or not. So that's my general personal life update, I suppose, apart from just life is lifin', motherhood is motherin', and the house is housing. It's renovating. Oh, and also in this video, I do want to do some outdoor cleanup things that I'll talk about because we are taking our Christmas card photos this weekend and we gotta whip things into shape a little bit. Okay, I'm out here by our fire pit. Hello. I have a lot of stuff here, honestly, because we haven't been able to burn in quite some time because of the severe drought here. We were in a burn ban. I think it finally lifted like right before Halloween, but we've been pretty like mindful of the heavy winds and how fast they've been going and how quickly that can kick up a fire. You know, we were in Oregon before this. We know wildfire evacuation was crazy. So I think now we've been getting enough consistent rain for a couple of days to probably have a fire soon, but I do have some more yard cleanup to add to this. Specifically, we had a big storm recently that downed a tree in front of the pig's grave. It didn't like fall on their grave, it actually missed it perfectly. Anyway, we might have to whip out the chainsaw, honestly, to get that one. Finley's doing some work on the truck today. And sometimes I just wish I knew how to use a chainsaw alone safely, but I feel like I should take a course before I break into that, you know? But Finley's never taken a friggin' course and he taught himself how to do it. I'm sure I could watch a couple YouTube videos on it. We got some branches that fell down in the backyard as well that like, I'm just gonna go show them to you because we need to drag them out. And I just wanna do a little yard cleanup because we are taking our Christmas card this weekend and we're gonna shoot around the property. So I don't want there to be a bunch of unsightly branches everywhere. Year by year, I'm just turning more into my father. Okay, here we have culprit number one. This branch broke off from above, and when it fell right on another branch and like split it, so we can't just like grab the branch from down here and pull it off because then it would break the branch above it. So we have to take a ladder and cut it out of this tree because I honestly think for our Christmas card photos I might want to take some with her in the swing. And then this tree right here you can see broke and fell, and the limb went all the way over here, and the pig's grave is right behind. I mean, I don't know if you can even tell, but there's a chair there, and it missed the chair and fell like right behind our walkway to the pig's grave. So we're gonna have to chainsaw this as well and break it up and haul it. Honestly, we'll probably need the truck for this purpose or the tractor, so I might have to wait until Finley's done with his mechanic work. I'm currently all strapped up with my carrier on, so I am going to just bring some loosey-goosey boards like this to the burn pile that are just sort of strewn about the yard. This is from when our solar got dropped off. The guys left a bunch of like pallets here, but they're not the good pallets. And if you have a homestead, you know the difference, okay? I'll show you the difference. These are good pallets. They could be made into like fences and stuff like that. We used them for the pigs' build for their pen, but these are not great pallets. The ones without the slats in them, because they just like shred completely under UV in the elements. So probably gonna burn that one too. Burn the one underneath it. There's also like some cardboard on that bad boy that would just be good for the burn pile. Rue, you hanging out in your she shed? Sometimes bunnies go in there and she tries to hunt them. I've seen a plumber's crack before, but I've never seen a mechanic crack. Do you want to say to the vlog what you're up to?
Well, I'm not much of a mechanic, but I'm trying to get this brake system set up, but I have to tap into my battery and then route wires under the truck and stuff. So I'm just figuring that out. I'm using these things, which I guess you're not supposed to use.
What?
They're not reliable, I guess, but...
Why are you using them?
That's all they sold.
Who's they?
Tractor Supply.
Oh, freaking Tractor Supply. Finley's gonna get his head shaved probably in this vlog by me.
It's really looking awful. So.
Don't worry, Larry, I won't shave your head. You getting a little chilly, buddy? He wants to do a little more yard cleanup with me.
Well, I try to, as a rule, not do anything that has an engine in it. I don't know why, I just am so bad at it. I'm not even doing anything with engines, I'm just doing electrical stuff, but still. I've brought like half my basement into this truck because I keep failing to do what I need to do. This is like a little brain for the brake controller, and then this is the actual thing with the buttons and where it shows everything. But I have to run the wires from I already tapped that into the positive. I have to run another one back, but basically I have to go from in here through this little gasket thing. That comes in from up there. Then I'm running it down underneath this carpet through a hole in the floor right there. Then wrapping it underneath. I'm gonna put it in some loom actually. And then I have to figure all this wiring out. So this is a 7-pin trailer plug, which you need for like electric brakes and like bigger trailers. And then this right here is a little 4-pin. So I think that my truck was wired with the 4-pin. So I believe that I'll be able to just use this and it'll work. And then they have conversion kits to turn a 4-pin into a 7-pin. You need to run like one from the controller, one from the battery, and then tie into the reverse light too. So it's like you have to do extra stuff. But I think that if I take this out, get rid of all this bullshit extra wiring, go strip it back down to this 4-wire, attach it to the converter, and run the new wires I need, I should be good to go. Pray for me. I wanted to just pay somebody to do this, but everywhere's so busy around here, it's like months out to get any work done.
I'm also just having Rue's help cleaning up stuff like this. We do all of our own dump runs. We do have a local trash service that comes out here, but we just don't use them because we have so much, you know, trash from the renovation that we do dump runs just whenever we collect all of our items. And we haven't had enough trash to where we would need to like rent a dumpster or anything like that, surprisingly. But Finley normally parks his truck here where I'm standing, and sometimes some things be blowing around. So we have some cardboard I'm gonna add to the pile. Larry's just checking out the pig's pen. Honestly, it depresses me so much to see the dilapidated pig pen, because I think I told you guys this, but the shed that we had got for them, the roof collapsed in last winter. Thankfully, it didn't happen while they were still alive. But yeah, it just couldn't handle the weight of the snow. Yeah, it just makes me really sad to look at this place. So maybe we'll breathe new life into it at some point with chickens, but I feel like I've told you guys this. I just want to wait until our children are like old enough to help with the chickens, to get some of them and also raise them from chicks preferably, because I am terrified of adult chickens, I'm gonna be honest. Whoa, I got seeds all over my pants. I must have walked into some sort of a bramble and not even felt it. Okay, you gotta go. I totally forgot to show you guys, but Finley planted us some apple trees. This is an Arkansas black apple. Arkansas. And then this is actually not an apple tree. Hi, Larry! It's a peach tree, the Red Haven one to be exact. And then I believe this is a cherry tree. I can't remember. And then over by our well, which is over there with the blue cap, there's another apple tree. Oh no, Rue found a ditch. Does somebody live under there? Where are you going? She said she's just gonna find the little hidey hole where some critters have been. We also have 2 pawpaw trees that I planted back here around Corvidia's first birthday, but they did not make it through the drought this summer, which is unfortunate. But maybe they'll surprise me and actually spring up one of these days. I don't know. And all of this placement too, like if we end up re-landscaping this area with the tractor and stuff like that, we might just move the trees, but we just wanted to get them in the ground and see how they do, because it's fruit tree planting season. Even though it's getting super cold here, that's apparently like when you're supposed to do it, like in early fall. Well, it was absolutely fucking freezing when I first got up very early this morning, but now it's like 55. So we're out here doing a little landscaping, getting after it, and Finley just gave us the idea of expanding the fire pit. So we're gonna do that because we have a lot of big things to burn, giant logs, giant felled trees that I already showed you, and pallets as well. The fire pit that we currently have isn't big enough to like even have a pallet laid across it, you know? So let's go. This was already here when we moved in, by the way. So all these like cinder block walls and pieces of concrete and stuff, like we didn't bring any of this in. Yeah, this is pretty good for right now, I'd say. Bigger than before. And he's gonna go get the tractor to, I'll just show you. So I just told him that I wanted these ugly shredding pallets moved. So he's just gonna do it with the tractor because it's a lot easier than doing it with, you know, our own 2 hands. I asked him if we could get the ladder to cut down this branch out of this tree. And he was like, yeah, I'll go get the ladder. And then he goes, oh, I haven't tried this move yet. And he just like pushed up on the branch that was splitting the other branch I don't know. Anyway, it's down, so we'll also drag that bad boy over to the fire pit too. And these are going to be burned as well. Bye-bye. I told him, let's just have a big old fire right now because it's beautiful, a nice bluebird day, as they say. Actually, do they say bluebird day when you're skiing? And even though that there's a bunch of beautiful powder, there's also like sunshine and blue skies. I don't know. It's a blue sky day, I'll just say, because I'm not 100% sure. We're also gonna burn this cardboard stuff, so I'm gonna get some of the like planter things that we've planted with the trees and other various starts, and we'll burn those, but not the plastic pieces. Is every person's gardening shed also just insane? It's chaos. This guy thinks he's so cool. Just tell. Freaking jughead. Hi, dogs. Oh, they're so beautiful. They're enjoying being outside without needing to wear sweaters. I have a sinking feeling we're not gonna get a lot of these days coming up. You know those types of people where you say one thing one time and then for the rest of the day they can't stop saying it? That's my husband. So I literally was just moving, I don't know, one of the things in here, and I said, "Hey, Rock, get your back up off the wall," because we were making a rock wall. And now literally 5,000 times I've heard him on the tractor moving the pallet around going, "Get your back up off the wall."
Plus I saw you dance with him.
Yep, my husband's a Swiftie. We did it. We successfully burned through the gigantic burn pile. Just have a little bit left. And we've just been raking all the leaves back so it doesn't get too crazy. You might be looking around and being like, do you own a rake? And I just want to say that I am in the camp of leaving the leaves. I have always been that way. I never understood why my father raked as viciously as he did, but you know, more power to him. Oh, Chris, we love you, King. But yeah, I mean, just general like stick cleanup and having a big, gigantic bonfire is on the to-do. Actually, tonight our pals are coming over for that, so that will be lovely.
Well, I'm using mostly wet wood, so I got some dry wood to get it started and keep it hot enough to dry the wet wood out. These were the mushrooms causing rot and sacrificing on them on the pyre of their sin.
Oh wow, the mushroom causing rot on our siding.
Honestly, I gave it a long time to sporulate and move on. Get out of my lawn. Life is over now.
Our buddy shaved Finley's head again tonight. Shout out. Oh, I actually was coming over to touch your head. Tennis ball alert. I'm trying to think of what else I can burn in the fire. Maybe my limiting beliefs about myself or my body, probably. I'm gonna throw those. I don't know, honey. I'm trying to like start hibernating for the winter and thinking about all of the things that I want to plant seeds for now that will spring up in the spring. But hey, I got all winter to do that, and nights are long and there's plenty of time to have a couple of dark nights of the soul. But I really wanted to just say that in my last video I was talking about this, like taking a really slow approach to fall this year. And I feel like also living in Vermont, like the fall capital of the world, we love autumn here. I do feel a sort of pressure sometimes from myself, not from anybody else, to do all of the fun fall things. And October was completely jam-packed with all of that. Sorry if the angle changed, y'all, my camera died. But that's October in Vermont, you know? Like an apple pie festival, a scarecrow festival, and the family fun farm day, and all of these various things, which are all so fun, and I'm elated to go to every single one. But then I'm always like, whew, wow, October was a lot. And then also because October is so gorgeous around here, we always have many people coming up to visit us, which is fantastic as well because I always want to see them. But you know, it's just like, oh, then you get a little delayed in the renovations or things get shifted around or moved around, and we just have to live life with all those things coming because it's good to see family, it's good to see friends, it's good to go out on the weekends and participate in those little activities because that's generally our, not rule, but what we do with the house, like work Monday through Friday, have the weekend to spend with family and friends. But sometimes if a project gets delayed, then we're like, maybe we'll just work through the weekend to finish it before the deadline of these people coming to drop off the flooring or whatever. But anyway, this is all just to say I have had a slow November, and I'm happy to invite that feeling in because that's quite literally what I was wanting and aiming for and hoping for when I was doing the little monologue in my last video, just being like, wow, summer was a lot. And then October passed and I was like, wow, that was like a big portion of fall, and fall is kind of a lot because I generally think November here is just winter. I know there's not yet snow on the ground, but multiple years in the past it has snowed on November 1st. So I do consider November to just be winter time. So now I'm just taking an actual deep breath after October has passed now and just like dipping my toe back into the water of, you know, sharing more videos and getting back up to date on some of the projects that are occurring around the house and my recipes and all of those various things. Speaking of recipes, I recently got a new cookbook called Meals She Eats, which is like PCOS recipes that a husband makes for his wife. And I was trying out a beet salad one today and reserving a ton of red onion that I chopped for a tuna salad, and then using the rest of it like for this recipe. I put in like a third a cup of red onion, a handful of beets that I had already roasted, and like a cup of pistachios. And what else is in there? Some grapefruit I broke up and put in there as well. And then I added in some goat milk feta. The recipe book doesn't have any dairy in it because that's just like, I don't know what she wanted to do for her PCOS treatment, but I personally love dairy and it hasn't been a problem for me. And then I added in some chopped spearmint, which is incredible for PCOS, especially like spearmint tea and stuff. And then just like little pepper, and mixed it all together. And my baby wanted to try some. And I said, sure, take a beat, see if you like it, honey. And I loved it. I thought the flavors were incredible together. And then I shredded up some celeriac and some carrots, and then added in like a half cup of aged cheddar and a little bit of an egg. And I've been doing this. I've just been cracking it in like a baby bowl and whisking it, and then adding in the whisked egg into my separate bowl. And then I added in, I think it was like a third a cup of flour, and then some seasonings. I did paprika and some garlic and onion powder, salt and pepper, and then just mixed that all together. Actually, did I even do pepper? I don't know. But then I basically just made these little like haystack ball things. I don't know. They're like cheesy fritter bites kind of, but you don't fry the fritters, you just bake the fritters. I forget, I think it was like $3.50 for maybe like 15 minutes, but they came out perfect and we loved them. And I really hope that you guys have had a lovely autumn so far, wherever you are. Maybe it's not autumn actually where you're living in the world. So if it's not, then comment down below what season you're in, because I would like to know. When I end off these videos, I always try to think of where exactly we're ending off of like what we're showing you in the renovations right now, so I know what to update you on come the next video. But I will let you know in the next video what stain selection we chose for the floors. I know that we're not going to go dark because a lot of people chimed in the last video and said that dark like walnut stained wood just shows everything, like every little hair, and especially having a dog that sheds. Larry, I'm looking at you. He's right behind the camera. He's very blonde and it would just show all of his hair. So we're definitely not going to go a super dark floor route because, just like I was saying earlier in this video, we're also really enjoying all of the light that is coming into the wing now. And I just like want to bring more of that into this house because a lot of it is like dark walnut walls and mahogany tones and all these things. And I don't want to just like paint everything white, you know? It's nice to have a couple of little pops here and there, but I think we need to go in like a different direction with the tones of the wood that we're doing. So yes, putting a pin in that to talk about next time. And thank you for keeping tabs on us and our renovations in our lives and all of that kind of good stuff. I love you guys, and I love sitting here and narrating my life with you and chatting you through like the last, I don't know, X amount of weeks since I last uploaded a video, and just keeping you updated on our little family here in Vermont with our 10-year-old Bisher boy. I love you, buddy. That's really the newest update in our family, is that we have a 10-year-old dog, and I'm just like, I'm so happy, but I'm also like, my heart is sad when I think about that number. Anyway, I could talk about that for a while. I'm not going to, but you can go watch the celebratory Larry 10th birthday vlog on Patreon if you so choose. It was just like a quick little, you know, morning with him in my life, and it just felt like a fun thing to remember and share. And then the bigger like hour-long life updates go into these videos. But I love you, buddy. Thanks for watching. Stay smiling. Bye, y'all.